I love about hunting in charity shops is 9 times out of 10 you'll find nothing but FIFAs, but it's that 1 in 10 chance when you find something awesome that makes it all worthwhile.
Game Picker! Building the Games Room! Rush Tricks! Live Game Hunting!
Again folks, so welcome back to another live game hunting video, and that's right, this time we are headed back to St Edmunds. It's only the second time I've ever been here on a game hunt, but last time I went I was really impressed by the massive range of charity shops, gaming shops, and basically everywhere I love to hunt. Now unfortunately last time I went was actually on New Year's Eve, so a lot of the stores closed early, so let's hope this time we can find some awesome bits to add to the collection. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and please subscribe, as I put new videos out every Saturday live at 5, as well as bonus content throughout the week, and I really want you folks along for the ride. Now, let's head to St Edmunds. Straight off the bat, as soon as we get to St Edmunds, can we just take a minute to acknowledge how beautiful this town is? Like the medieval architecture, the buildings, the marketplace. Let's just hope this place is as good for hunting as it is good looking. Straight into our first charity shop here is Cancer Research UK, and straight to the DVD section where hopefully we'll also be able to find some games. Yes, there is some games, but hiding here is a steelbook, and it's a WWE steelbook, but unfortunately it's one I already have in the collection, which is a real shame as I love collecting these WWE steelbooks, and for £1 that was a pretty good deal. But let's have a good look at these video games. Yep, more DVDs there, some classic FIFAs, but Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 for the Xbox 360 for £2. I'm sure this one trades in for a fair amount, so yeah, let's pick this one up. £2 straight off the bat isn't too bad. Next to it was another Harry Potter game, this time for the Wii, for £1. So 2 Harry Potter games in our first charity shop for £3. Not a bad start to today's hunt. Carrying on further down this quaint little side street, and we find ourselves at the British Heart Foundation charity shop. Now, a lot of the prices in the British Heart Foundation charity shops are normally on the higher end. As you can see here, there's some Xbox One games and some PlayStation 3 games in this little tiny glass cabinet of dreams here, but we'll come back to those in a little while. Let's go to the stuff that's a bit easier, the shelf. So you can see here on the shelf, unfortunately, it's mainly just DVDs, but you know, this is where DVDs go to die now in these charity shops, as seemingly same with CDs. On the top of the bookshelf here was something a little bit more interesting. This like Assassin's Creed book collection. I think this was like volumes 1 to 10. I think they were selling them as a big bundle for £20, which isn't too bad if you're looking to start a new collection. Heading over to the kids DVD section, and we have our first video game. Now unfortunately they are mainly FIFA and Just Dance games, but here is the thing, like I said at the start of this video, 9 times out of 10 it's FIFA games in the charity shops, and at 1 in 10 time you find something cool. I don't think I've ever found a Mega Drive game in a charity shop. Okay, it's not the most valuable Mega Drive game of all time, but to find a Mega Drive game in a charity shop in 2023 is mad. Now, unfortunately, the Xbox One games in this store were a little bit overpriced, which is a real shame, but at the end of the day, I found a Mega Drive game. If nothing else today, that is an absolute win in my book. It just goes to show charity shop hunting isn't dead. But carrying on, we need to carry on that good luck. We have 2 shops here. We have Mind and Cancer Research. Starting off in Mind, here is a film not enough people talk about, Isle of Dogs. This is one of my favourite films of the past 10 years or so. It's absolutely fantastic for all the family. And I was quite interested in these Disney Pixar Ultimate Collection box sets, but sadly I don't think they trade in very well. So I did pass on these, even though one was sealed. Out of the corner of my eye, I did spy these I Spy books. I thought it was like the original ones. I used to love these back in the 80s, like going on road trips and playing these along the way was a great thing. I'm glad to see them back, but because these were newer ones, I did pass on them. There was this vintage Goosebumps book here, which lit up or did something, but it seemed like the batteries ran out. Sadly, it didn't work, so I did leave that one behind on the shelf. Also, sadly, in the charity shop next door, not really too much to write home about, a couple of FIFA games, some common Xbox 360 games, and the inevitable pile of DVDs that are in every single charity shop. As you see, we go on to the next charity shop. We have all CDs, DVDs and books, 50p or free for £1. But even at these prices, I think a lot of these are probably destined to sit on the shelf until the end of all time. But at the end of the day, at least the money does go to charity. Heading further into St Edmunds, there was this absolutely ginormous charity shop. Like, this was huge. This was split over 2 levels. And have you ever seen such a massive Blu-ray section in a charity shop. I keep getting tempted to pick up the Resident Evil films on Blu-ray, but then I think, do I hold out and get them on 4K HD, or do I just wait to get one of the bigger box sets? Let me know what you think down in the comments below, but I tell you what, it's been a while since I've seen that many Blu-rays in one place. Moving over to the toy section, because out of the corner of my eye, once again, I spied some games, and as it's a large charity shop, there's a really large selection of games in here. We're talking PlayStation 2, Xbox 360, DS, even some PlayStation 4 games, albeit FIFA, but nothing really too much to write home about. Sunset Overdrive, an absolutely fantastic game, worth a couple of quid of anyone's money. If you have not played that game on Xbox One, please play it. It's one of the best games of the Xbox One generation. It's absolutely fantastic. But sadly, nothing here I wanted to add to the collection. I was tempted by Need for Speed Undercover, even because there was 2 copies, but I did pass on that one. I did check the price of Surf's Up because it's some of these weird kids Xbox 360 games that reach a really good price in CEX. And likewise, I was tempted by this lovely PlayStation mug, but I did manage to let it slide this time and leave it behind. Heading on to the Dogs Trust charity shop next, and as a dog lover, I was really hoping I could find something in here. At first, I thought I'd struck gold. I thought this was an official Jurassic World toy, but I couldn't find any Jurassic World markings on this one, so I did pass. Even though it's like one of the better kind of non-Jurassic Park-based toys, I did pass because really, if I'm going to collect dinosaurs, they're obviously going to be only official Jurassic Park toys. A little further down the road was a cash converters store. I know it's a very small store, you never know what you're going to find in here. Some days they're just full of absolutely nothing, but sometimes you can get some really good deals. Sadly, didn't seem there was any good deals in the window. These Assassin's Creed figures were £60 each. The Nintendo Switch Labo was 30 quid. Heading inside, we had all little classic kind of consoles, some of the controllers, bits like that. This like small Xbox One controller kind of intrigued me for £5. I was quite tempted to pick that up. I like the kind of old school look of that. The Mario Kart steering wheel for the Switch was very cool, and the Animal Crossing Lite Nintendo Switch console as well was pretty cool. Sometimes you can get a decent deal on some of these consoles in cash converters. Like, I don't think £100 for a Killzone PlayStation 4 is too bad. The Wii consoles may be a little bit overpriced, including that frozen one with the awful stickers on here. But it is the games where you can get a good deal. So let's have a look. Wii Fit is 35p. Okay, that's about 34p more than it should be, but at least it's priced realistically. Sniper Elite, what we got? 50p, that's what I mean. You can get some decent bargains in cash converters. 50p for a decent PlayStation 3 title, let's add that to the pile. Wet, an absolutely fantastic game, but £15, that is pretty crazy. So one game was 50p, one was £15. So let's pick something else. We'll just go for one of the Call of Duty games. 50p, once again, not too bad. If that had been the Xbox 360 copy of Black Ops 2, we'd have been absolutely laughing. Lego Jurassic Park, 50p, awesome. Let's add that one to the pile because, if nothing else, the Lego games normally trade into CEX with some good money. It's just a shame they didn't have more Xbox 360 games here. All of these Call of Duties were all 50p each. But if you were looking to build a PlayStation 3 collection, and you could add some of these games for 50p, it'd be an absolute bargain. Like, I thought I'd have a look, how much Sniper Elite 5? Okay, that's about the right price for that one. But here is the thing with cash converters. Sometimes you go in there and find nothing. Sometimes you go in there and find some really good deals. Like Monster Hunter, £15 isn't too bad for that one. But here's a game coming up that I've never seen before. Borderlands Game of the Year edition for the PlayStation 4. I never knew they released a physical copy of this for the PlayStation 4. It's got the American rating on the front there, so I'm guessing it's an NTSC game, but as we all know, the PlayStation 4 is region free. And a last little bargain here, Spider-Man Miles Morales, £15 is pretty good for that game. That game is absolutely spiked in CX at the minute. But yeah, all in all, this time I was fairly impressed by most of the prices here in cash converters, but £35 for Aladdin, that seems very, very high to me. I think that we can go back on the shelf. Bit of PS1 action here. Not too bad, but you win some, you lose some when it comes to cash converters. Saints Row, $11.99. I think it's £10 in CX. Resuming play in the charity shops, and we are back to the DVD sections. And straight away, we've got some Wii games here. Now, most of these are pretty worthless now just because they're shovelware and there was just so many copies of it made. I remember back in lockdown when you could sell Just Dance games for like £1 million for some bizarre reason, but unfortunately the market on them has absolutely dropped out recently. This is one of my favourite ways for shops to display their Blu-rays on these kind of spinny things. I don't know what it is, it just makes it way more satisfying looking through these. Unfortunately, there wasn't anything we really needed here, but it's just somehow more fun than just looking at these all on a shelf. I was tempted to pick up Need for Speed, but I think this is on Amazon or Netflix a minute. Let me know in the comments down below. I think if I get it for £1, I'd probably grab it. Now, believe it or not, these Oxfam bookshops are sometimes worth checking because sometimes you can find games. Unfortunately, this time all I could find was CDs and yes, a very small DVD section, but it's always worth checking. Finally, Bury St Edmunds is interesting as it has one of the newest CEX stores in the entire country. But you'll have to wait for a future episode of the Crazy World of CX to check that store out. Just popping into the best looking Greggs in the country, back to the games room. Here we are then, back in the games room from Bury St Edmunds, and I would definitely recommend heading there if you want to go out on a game hunt. There's a fantastic selection of charity shops, as well as, like I said, one of the newest CEX stores in the entire country, as well as a game store, which unfortunately is inside of Sports Direct. But more about both of those stores in a future episode, so make sure you keep it here. But let's get on to the pickups this time. And first off, we have Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1, which you saw I picked up from that first charity shop. Now, I'm sure a few months ago this used to trade in for a lot more, but I think what has happened with the general value of these Harry Potter games is since Hogwarts Legacy has come out, a lot of these have absolutely nosedived. I'm sure this used to trade in for about £5 or £6 or even £10. Unfortunately, now it doesn't, so sadly this one is a bit of a fail. And unfortunately, it is the same story so much as Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix for the Nintendo Wii. But I did only pay £1 for this one, and it does trade into CX for £1.20, so not necessarily a fail, but we're not exactly going to be building that credit very quickly with games getting 20p profit. But this, for me, was the biggest surprise of today's hunt, finding a Mega Drive game in a charity shop, and for a decent price. I actually can't remember the last time I saw any cartridge-based game in a charity shop, and whilst it's not the most exciting title in the world, Echo the Dolphin for the Sega Mega Drive, it is boxed and complete, which is pretty amazing, and we only paid £2.50 for this game. Now again, this isn't the greatest bargain of all time, but it just goes to show you never know what you're going to find charity shop hunting. Our final pickups this time are from Cash Converters. And it's such a strange store. Their pricing just seems to be all over the place. Some of the games like Wet in there were £15. Then you get games such as this one, Sniper Elite V2, which was 50p. Now this game isn't exactly going to break the bank anywhere at CX. It's only a £2 game. But to be able to add games to your PlayStation 3 collection for 50p is just fantastic. And the other game I picked up is Lego Jurassic World. Again, for just 50p. And these are the kind of games to keep an eye out for, because this game trades into CEX for £3. I'm adding this copy to my personal collection, but if you can pick up a game for 50p and trade it in for £3, Cash Converters is definitely worth checking out. But much like charity shop hunting, what I love about Cash Converters is you never know what you're going to find. And this is a game which I never knew existed for this console. It is Borderlands Game of the Year edition for the PlayStation 5. This was just £5. And here's the thing, it is getting quite difficult to play the original Borderlands game on a lot of newer consoles, because even with the Handsome Jack collection, this game isn't on there. It just seems whenever they do a remake, a remaster, a reimagining, a compilation of Borderlands games, they always seem to miss this game, which is a real shame, as me and my wife have played all of the Borderlands games. We never go back and play this one just because it just feels a little bit worse playing the original. So hopefully with this one we can go back and relive what is one of my favourite Borderlands games, I'd say story-wise. I think because it was so fresh at the time, I just really enjoyed this one. And having the Game of the Year edition means it has all of the DLC. And the thing is, like I said, this game was just £5, and this is about a £20 game on eBay. So to be able to pick this up for a £5 is absolutely fantastic. And I'm super happy to have Borderlands Game of the Year edition back in my collection. So there we have it then, folks. That was Bury St Edmunds. But let me know in the comments down below, When was the last time you found a cartridge-based game in your local charity shop? And also comment below your best find from your local cash converters. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, hit that like button, subscribe, and as always, keep playing the game. See y'all soon.